Augustine says, the Bible is shallow enough for a child not to drown, yet deep enough for an elephant to swim. I love that quote. So it means if you're a beginner and you know hardly anything about the Bible, you will benefit. But even if you've been studying the Bible for years, decades, I've been studying the Bible for 52 years, and I find still I haven't reached the end of it. It is so deep, so incredible. I like this story. Once a National Geographic magazine did an article on Carl Scharschmidt, an 81-year-old guide in Yosemite National Park. Now, you need to know Yosemite National Park is perhaps the most famous national park in America. It is amazing. A lady once asked him what he would do if he had 1 hour to see Yosemite. He thought for a few minutes, then said, if I only had 1 hour to see Yosemite National Park, then I would go over to that river, sit down, and cry. 1 hour just isn't enough. You can begin, but you'll never finish. So with the Bible, you can begin, but you'll never finish. But you want to begin, even though you know the job will take a lifetime. So that's really our lesson. In a parallel sense, we have the Bible that will not be fully understood even when we invest a lifetime of study. To even understand it a little, we will be required to invest a lot of time. The more time you invest, the more you will learn. We've looked at some of the warnings. I want to now look at some of the positive principles. Up to this time, we've done observation. That is everything you can see. But now we want to bring in some experts, some outside people that can help us to see what we can't see on our own. I want to use as an example Nehemiah 1 through 4. Let me read it to you. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, in the month of Chislev, in the 20th year, while I was in the citadel of Susa. Hananiah, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned him about the Jewish remnant that had survived the exile, and also about Jerusalem. They said to me, those who survived the exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. When I heard these words, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. I want us to go through our observation questions, but I want us to be able to bring in some outside experts to help us. The who, Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, Hananiah. Those are the who of these 4 verses. Nehemiah is the key figure for the book. The book is named after him. He probably wrote the book. Son of Hakaliah, that is his father. Hananiah, he calls him one of my brothers. This is what we know just from observation. To know more, we need to bring in some outside experts. So here are some things that I learned. What do we know about this Nehemiah? He lived in Susa. This is the capital of Persia. He did not return with the first group. He served the king of Persia. He is Jewish from Jerusalem. He is deeply concerned about the things of God. He is the cupbearer of the king. Now, how do I learn those things? I want to stop and go back and begin to help you see how you can discover those things on your own using the internet. Okay, here I am at Bing.com. I believe you can use this in China. So here I'm going to type in Nehemiah and do a search. When I come to the search, you're going to notice several things. One, Nehemiah, you can use this one. Here you get a summary of Nehemiah, a little bit about and an outline of what it says, the book of Nehemiah, some rabbinical writings, and rabbinical means Jewish writings, a little bit of art, also see some references and further reading in case you want to do a little more in-depth research. Now let me go back again and just give you one other example. You'll notice here there are really several things you could pick from, but notice this. Who was Nehemiah in the Bible? Now here we're going to go, and this is from a website called Got Questions, very good website. Who was Nehemiah in the Bible? So here he's going to talk about Ezra and Nehemiah were contemporaries. And they both wrote about the rebuilding of Jerusalem, which occurred approximately 70 years after it was destroyed by the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar. So he's going to give you some of the background. By reading this, you can discover a great deal about Nehemiah, more than what I just said. There's still other things, but that will be sufficient to let you go a little deeper than probably where you are right now. So now let's look at where. So here is what I found from looking for where. I found a few maps. Here's a picture of Susa, the capital. You see exactly where it is. You can back up a little, get a bigger picture of Susa in the Persian Empire, modern day Iran. You see where Iraq is. Just above it, and you can see kind of the location of it, kind of in a bigger picture, but you get a good picture of where Susa is in the world. This is where Nehemiah was, back in Israel, where he's going to go. Now here you get a little bit of a picture of where he was going to travel. So this is really helpful in being able to understand where he's going to go. And you'll notice he doesn't take a straight path. He goes around the desert. There's an Arabian desert there, and he can't go through it because it's way too hot. So this is his travel route when he eventually goes back. Okay, now let's do a little research on the where. So where we want to go, Nehemiah. Let's try maps. So here you can look at the maps, and here I'm going to shift over to images because really what we're looking for are some pictures of the maps. Now, as you run down this, you can see many really good pictures. Now, you can click on any one of these pictures and get a close-up, and you can copy and paste them according to whatever you feel like is most helpful. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to choose this time Susa in let's say Nehemiah's time. And here you get a picture. This is really a good map, the one a little bit like the one I showed you. There's Susa and his travel back to Jerusalem. Very good map. You can find a lot of others. I think that you can find very, very helpful. A lot more detail here, telling you a little bit more about the location. Now, one more to try is Nehemiah, excuse me, not Susa, but let's try Jerusalem. Jerusalem in Nehemiah's time. And here you again get some cool pictures of Jerusalem. There is a model of Jerusalem in the time of Nehemiah. There are several really good ones you'll notice here. I really like this one as well. Kind of get a picture of the temple and what the temple would have looked like. Several things that you can see. Again, some really interesting ones here about the rebuilding of the wall, but some great pictures that can help you visualize what you're looking at. So there's just no end to the amount of material experts you can bring in that can help you about when. Okay, let's go to when, Nehemiah 1 through 4. Here is my breakdown. I did it in two ways. One, these are the three main characters: Zerubbabel, who takes them back and begins to rebuild the temple; Ezra, who rebuilds the people; and then our key character, Nehemiah, in 444 BC, a date we can establish very clearly from history. Another way you can look at it is through some charts that I found, again, through doing a search on the internet, telling you about some of the rulers that they were dealing with at that time. And again, I want to take you back to the internet and show you some modern day examples of some things you can use and find very easily. Okay, now let me give you Nehemiah timeline. Oops, yeah, there he is, Nehemiah timeline chart. So there are several really good ones here. I just want to show you one. You can do any one you want to do. This one I think is good. This one is you get a little bit of a close-up, Zerubbabel, Ezra, Nehemiah. You can get kind of the key events of what they did. And really there are many, many that you could choose from. You're going to look and see there are lots and lots, different styles, different content. But if you look at a couple of them, you can get a really good feel for the value of those. Now, I want to show you a little bit different kind of chart. First, I'm going to show you what I did. Now, in chapter 1, he's started us out telling us the date. And in chapter 2, verse 1, he mentions another month. The first month he mentions was Chislev. I don't know if you remember it, but you can go back and check. Now in chapter 2, verse 1, he says, in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was brought for him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. I had not been sad in his presence before. Now we have here two dates you probably never heard of, Chislev and Nisan. So you wonder, what are those times? Let me throw another one at you before I give you some answers. This is in the month of Nisan. Then in chapter 6, verse 15, we have another month. So the wall was completed on the 25th of Elul in 52 days. Now, the distance from Chislev to Nisan is this. This is a chart telling you the months of the year. You see it in the center, the Jewish holiday calendar. And actually, it's all the months of the year. And you can see, not the Chinese months, I'm afraid, but you can see the months of the year, the English months of the year, and what we would say. So I'm going to show you. You can see there. Let me first mark for you. There is Chislev, and it is your November, December coming up soon. So that's that month. And then here is the month, Nisan. Now, if you measure the distance between chapter 1, verse 1, chapter 2, verse 1, it's 120 days, approximately 4 months. What does he do during that time? We're going to see that he just prays. For 120 days, he prays. But he spends time building the wall for only 52 days. This tells you he spent twice as much time praying as he did building. And it gives us a great lesson about the importance of prayer. Now, let me go back and show you a little bit of how you can find some maps that will help you to figure out the calendar. Okay, so this time we're looking for Jewish calendars. I've already done the search, so I'm going to go ahead and cheat. Here, I type in Jewish calendars. It takes me here. I want to look at images. And so here I see several. Now, there are a number of different ones, different styles, different looks, and different material. Now, I want to show you just one that I thought was especially good and simple. The fall feast, the spring feast, and then it has the English dates, and then it also has the Jewish names of the month. So this is really a great way to figure out when the Chislev is, when Nisan is. So you begin to get a better idea of what's behind. So you have to bring in some experts, some people who will know things you don't know. Now here, I'm going to take you to the what. We learn just from observation, the people are in great trouble. The people are in disgrace, dishonored. The walls of Jerusalem are broken down. Its gates have been burned with fire. Now, we could go back and do some research and find out what happened. We could do that actually in some of the research we did earlier, finding out the background of the book. This would be very helpful. I'm going to combine this with the why. Here, we look at some other key ingredients. Jerusalem seems to carry special importance to Nehemiah. Why? The city seems to be in bad shape. Why? The earlier group seems to have failed to make a difference. Why? So maybe I know these are questions, why questions, I just don't have the answer. So maybe I want to figure out more about what is so special about Jerusalem. So I'm going to go back and okay, let's do a study here. And here I've written out the importance of Jerusalem in the Bible. So we're going to do the search on that. Now we go down and there are several articles written about the importance of Jerusalem. There is the significance of religious significance of Jerusalem. Here is what is the significance of the city of Jerusalem? So here, and you'll notice this has got questions, a website we looked at earlier, very good website. What is the significance of Jerusalem? So here, he's going to give some answers. Jerusalem in history, and he's going to go through the history of Jerusalem. Jerusalem in prophecy. Prophecy means what's going to happen in the future, what was prophesied about it. Jerusalem in the present. So here we can learn a great deal about Jerusalem that perhaps we didn't know before. Now let me go back again, and we won't look at any more articles, but here are 66 verses about Jerusalem that show you the significance of it. Why is Jerusalem important today? Why is Jerusalem so important? The church in Israel. The spiritual significance of Jerusalem, a Bible guide. So here are several different websites that can help us to gain some insight into the importance of Jerusalem. So we come to the last question, so what? Now, let me again, this touches close to where application is, but the application section deals with so what to us. This deals with so what about them, about that time, about this passage to the people who are involved in it. So this is so what to Nehemiah. He sat down, he takes time out from everything else because of this. He wept and mourned. He was emotionally disturbed by this situation. Maybe we could say he was brokenhearted. He fasted. He went without food. He prayed. He prayed about this situation. And you may remember from earlier, he prayed for 120 days before he did anything. And actually, you'll see as you read through the rest of the book, actually just the rest of the chapter, he has the answer of what to do next before it happens. So you see God guiding him. So this is a great section for saying, so what? Now, maybe I could do some more bringing in some experts. Maybe I'm not sure about fasting, so I need to look at what does fasting mean. Maybe I want to know more about how Jews pray, so I look at that. But now I want to move to the last part, to a summary. Now here, I want to look at a different section. I want us to look a little bit at what we might learn from some other summaries other people have done. Now this is a summary of Ezra and Nehemiah, and I realize it's a little bit long, about 8 minutes, but I would like you to see, this is a video I got off the internet from Bible Projects, and I think you'll find it really helpful to give you the big picture. So I'm just going to play it for you, so listen carefully.
以斯拉记和尼希米书在最现代的圣经，这些书是分开的，但这种划分在写作很久之后才发生。原本是统一的作品和同一个作者写的。故事在巴比伦人摧毁耶路撒冷和圣殿后展开，并且使许多人流亡。而这本书 大约50年后开始，诉说一些以色列人回归耶路撒冷，然后当他们重建城市和生活的事情。具体而言，这本书的重点是3个主要领导人的重建工作：所罗巴伯、以斯拉和尼希米。而这本书的设计着重于每个领导者的努力。所罗巴伯引导一大群人回到耶路撒冷重建圣殿，后来经过近60年，以斯拉来到耶路撒冷教律法和重建社区，随后是尼希米领导重建耶路撒冷的城墙。这3个故事被设计成平行的，每个都是波斯王被神提示，国王开始派领袖到耶路撒冷，并提供资源和支持，然后每个领导者都面对反对的势力，接着他们克服困难，但他们所采取的方式导致这3个部分都有着虎头蛇尾的结束。让我们回去看这一切是如何形成的。故事的开始于波斯王古列的法令，他被神感动，允许流亡者返回耶路撒冷重建圣殿。而作者说，这实现由先知耶利米做出的预言，这些流亡者有一天会返回耶路撒冷。这个预言的实现理应提高我们对其他许多先知预言的信任，也就是这流亡不是以色列的终点。我们对大卫后裔的弥赛亚王抱有盼望，对重建圣殿让神与他的子民同在抱有盼望，期盼神的国度降临全地而带来祝福，如他应许亚伯拉罕那样。因此是在这些希望当中，我们读到所罗巴伯的故事。这名字的意思是指在巴比伦扎根，它代表着出生在巴比伦囚禁时期的年代，领导以色列人回到耶路撒冷。搬迁到这里后，他们重建祭坛，然后建圣殿，奠基仪式和圣殿的最后奉献，这些都是关键时刻。你应该还记得之前会幕和圣殿奉献的影像吧？这时刻应该是神的云柱降临的，神与子民同在的时刻，但都没有发生。一方面，有人喜欢这新圣殿，看见之前所罗门的圣殿的长老，却最后悲伤的哭泣，因他没有像他们辉煌的过去和向未来的希望。在这里，我们第一次看到反对派的出现和他们所做的怪事。没有流亡的以色列人的孙子，他们自此一直住在耶路撒冷，他们来提供帮助重建圣殿，但所罗巴伯却拒绝。他说：“这圣殿你们没有份。”这当然引起冲突。所罗巴伯克服这冲突，但是很奇怪，因为先知的意象是当神国度降临时，以色列支派将团结一起，连同所有国家一起参与崇拜以色列的神。所以这真是泼冷水。在下一节中，我们把时间推进60年，介绍以斯拉。他是以色列人在巴比伦中的领导者，是一个律法学者和教师。他也因此被波斯王委任，带领另一批人回到耶路撒冷。以斯拉要看见神的子民的属灵和社会复兴，抱着很大的希望。我们再次来到了另一个虎头蛇尾的时刻。以斯拉得知许多流亡的以色列人回归，他们和生活在耶路撒冷周围的人结婚，他们中有些不是以色列人，虽然也有一些以色列人。以斯拉然后使用律法的命令，以色列应该是分别为圣，与迦南人分隔的。然后他说，住在耶路撒冷周围的人都像迦南人，他们将使流亡者腐败。因此以斯拉做了真实的忏悔祷告，但随后他召集所有领导人，并颁布这项离婚法令，指的是这些婚姻应该废除，把妇女和小孩送走。而这项法令只实施了一部分，只有一些男人和妻子离婚。这个故事有几个让人觉得非常奇怪的原因。首先，神从未命令以斯拉做这些事，是耶路撒冷的领导者令以斯拉使用该法令。其次，当代先知马拉基说流亡者应该分别为圣，但他也说了神反对离婚，因此该法令的结果就符合了这最后的虎头蛇尾模式中。这带来下一节关于尼希米。他是在波斯政府工作的以色列官员。当他听到有关耶路撒冷的城墙的摧毁，他祷告能得到波斯国王亚达薛西的批准去重建城墙。国王甚至给出了武装和所有资源的支持。因此在抵达耶路撒冷后，他开始了 建设工程，并且还面临已经居住在耶路撒冷周围的人的反对。我们再次面对紧张的时刻。当代先知撒迦利亚说，属于神国度的新耶路撒冷将是没有围墙的城市，神的同在围绕着他，所有国家的人都来加入盟约。但是尼希米似乎用相反的观点来操作，他通知耶路撒冷周围的人，他们与耶路撒冷无份，这当然引起挑衅。所以尽管尼希米用诚信和勇气去完成这一项，他们建造这个城市必须用身穿武装的人来保护他们。我们想，这冲突可以是用不同的方式来处理的吗？所有这一切在书中的2个部分中做结论，先是正面的，接着是负面的。以斯拉和尼希米联手带给人们属灵上的更新，他们召集了所有的流亡者而欢庆，他们用7天阅读并教导律法，然后他们庆祝古老的住棚节，要记住出埃及和穿过沙漠中神的信实。然后他们对他们的罪孽做了忏悔，他们决心再次与神立约，按照律法的一切诫命。他们为着圣殿和耶路撒冷的城墙有大规模的庆祝活动。而正当我们认为这可能是一个转折点时，却不是。这本书在失望中结束。尼希米巡视城市时，发现人们并没有像他们所承诺的，所以所罗巴伯白费心思，因为圣殿还是被这些失去资格的人忽略。他才发现以斯拉的工作是被妥协的，每个人都违反了律法。人在安息日工作，也包括自己城墙上的工作，因为人们围绕耶路撒冷城墙做买卖，在安息日工作，所以尼希米非常生气，他到处打人，拔人们的头发，他也大喊大叫，遵守律法的诫命。而他最后的话是一个祷告，祈求神至少记得他曾经尝试。这书才结束。这些都非常奇怪，但我们也有准备，对不对？这些虎头蛇尾的已经成为这本书刻意的设计，因此提出了一个问题：这本书有助于我们了解圣经故事的情节吗？那么请记住，这本书开始提高我们的盼望和弥赛亚、圣殿、神的国度、预言的承诺。那么所有这一切都没发生，因此尽管以色列回到本国，他的属灵状况似乎并没有因为流亡而改变。虽然以斯拉、尼希米各尽其能，但在人民群众中的政治和社会改革没有解决他们心中的根本问题。那么书上说的是要突出先知耶利米和以西结所说的需要。若神的子民真的要爱神和顺服他，他们需要的是心中的全面性改造。这样一来，书在失望中结束，但迫使你继续阅读智慧和先知书，去看神会如何履行他美妙立约的诺言。这就是以斯拉记和尼希米书。
Now, I'm really hoping you understood that better than me. But I've heard the Bible Project in English, and I know it's good. Now, there's a couple of things I hope you see from this study of Nehemiah 1 through 4. And that is, the more deeply you study it, you start with your own observations, that you do your part first. As much as you can see, you become a detective. But after that, you bring in some other people who can see things you can't see. They're kind of like experts, and they can help you see further. They can help you be more accurate. And the other thing I want to say is, even if you're a beginner, if you learn more by the end of this study than you knew at the beginning, you are successful. But also, if you've been studying the Bible for years and years, you should be able to learn some new things you didn't know before. I always find this to be true. Now, here is your homework. Ephesians 2, 8 through 10. Now, you've done the observation on this. Now, do a search on who wrote the book of Ephesians and find out as much as you can about his situation at the time he wrote this book. Now, probably from your observation, you probably know it was Paul who wrote this book. But what do you know about Paul? Who? And what do you know about when he wrote this? And what was his situation? Find out as much as you can. Use the internet. Find a map of the city of Ephesus during the time of Paul. Also find out as much as you can about the city of Ephesus. You can find some pictures of ancient sites of the city, things like that. You can find out a great deal from the maps. And 3, find a sermon on the book of Ephesians, kind of an overview, or even better, if possible, on Ephesians 2, 8 through 10. Make notes on what you learn about the book and especially these verses. I do want to put in one caution. In the internet, you can find out some things that are great, but you can also find out some things that are not very accurate. So you want to be careful and check your sources. I encourage you to find trusted sources and learn to go to those sources first. You can always expand it and find others later. So I hope you enjoy this study, and I hope you've learned a little bit about going deeper yet into the text so you can study it deeper and know it more accurately.